They definitely did today.
Yeah, and now we're making our way up to the top side bracket as we have 100 Thieves Esports, a team that just took home the MRI, a big W there, getting some serious cash against Polymath, the team we haven't had much experience with. Maybe you in the chat have had some experience with these players, but we do see that Wolverine off, which I am not surprised to see that, knowing how strong Terra is with that Wolverine.
I think I've seen Doomsday in ranked and Exorcism, but maybe Wizard Dread as well. These few guys, but like in the pro scene, these guys are making their first appearance for an official broadcast. Wolverine ban is interesting. Adam Warlock banned on the side for 100 Thieves. They don't want to play against that triple strategist composition. And Chip, we were talking about this during the break. It's interesting how in the lower brackets, a lot of teams have already been knocked down early, even ones that we expect to win the whole tournament. So right now, I think it truly is the best parity we've seen for Marvel Rivals. 100 Thieves can get taken down by anybody at any instance, and maybe Polymath is that team.
Yeah, this is where we get into the, a lot of these teams at the top level scrim each other, so they maybe understand play styles. Obviously, there's some hidden secrets and stuff, but when you get into these tournaments, in-game, in-house tournaments with these teams that maybe you haven't seen, running something more unique, as we see, at least so far, running the Bucky and Punisher combination, maybe the Rocket will be seen here. Obviously that could change as we get into game, but stuff like that, just changing up the meta and forcing you, knowing that they might pick Groot, for example, and just wall busting, that kind of change in play style can force a team to struggle, and maybe we see them take over 100 Thieves here.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up, Shib, and we can go back to it, right? I think that you're right. You can't play counter meta, right? There's this obviously favorite compositions, right? There's the quote unquote best compositions, but I think there's a YouTuber I watch called Wolfie. He talks about how there's like a really good meta. If there's a really good composition you play, there might be a counter meta that people try to figure out, right? Because there's so many teams playing a certain play style. If you figure out that one composition that breaks the quote-unquote meta, then you set yourselves up for success and could win the whole tournament.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. Just understanding meta and then strictly countering it is definitely a strategy. And, maybe we do see that here. I mean, they are maintaining that run of, the double, double pistol boys or gun boys, I guess, if you will, with Doomsday going to be on the Punisher. And we will see not an uncommon pick of the Bucky on I got to say this properly, Teleopsia? This is my best guess so far, but as we get into this first fight, we will be taking early Wizard, going to walk it right down main instead of that off angle that we've seen from the first two teams.
Yeah, and without the Rocket Raccoon, no team up for both of these guys. It's very interesting to see them try to play it. Early turret with the portal on the flank. 100 Thieves, maybe not expecting it. Also high up. Meanwhile, TTK got picked on the low ground. This turret is absolutely in an odd spot, and it's kind of panned out.
I absolutely love that play. I always tell teams to do that on Yggdrasil, but seeing it on this map, that's some big brain. Great early play there, but Harvey going to turn that right around and even these numbers a little bit. And here comes the portal just to try to get them back to point. Numbers still going to be even, but now back in 100 Thieves' favor as they find this off angle. Good portal there to allow the team to come back if need be, but they won't have it again for the retake. TTK, one of the few, if not one of the only at this level, controller players, an absolute demon on the sticks. Going to find that early value as Poly's going to have to retake together.
Paper going to come back onto that thing instead of Doctor Strange giving up the ult charge, a little bit of extra ult charge in favor of playing with that. Stratus Ultimate's all coming up. Delena's still sitting on the soft angle as well. 100 Thieves. Going to be daunting to go against this. You might have to pop a Stratus Ultimate early just not to get picked, and oh no, they get picked again without even committing a single Stratus Ultimate. Now they commit the Luna Snow Ultimate. The Whale came through in the backside from Terra with no success, but at least you've already forced out that Stratus Ult.
Yeah, now we're going to see the battle of the strats. Great strangling prison there. Will it find value? Not enough just yet. Wizard hits the sky looking for a dunk on one of the back line. Does find one. That's a great pick. While ult is out as Wizard is going to take out Harvey very early. And the numbers back in their favor. Delena, though, on the Hela. An absolute mean, if not one of the best Hellas in the game. Terra going to find Doomsday. Rarely do we see Terra on the Namor there. Great work as CTK cleans up the rest.
Yeah, both Namor and Hela going through in the ban protect phase, both being played here for 100 Thieves. Seen as probably the best two duelists in the entire game. Polymath, obviously, with Bucky, maybe top 3 on their side. The Punisher, maybe the outlier in this case. Also, could see a little bit of lax from 100 Thieves. Didn't combine that Strangling Prison with the Luna Snow damage boost alongside Terra's Whale. That could cost them in the subsequent fight. Polymath comes through with his punishing ultimate.
And we are going to see both sides. Nice pick there. Teleopsia going to drop Vinny. Get that early drop. Just going to have the reset as we do see some follow-up from Doomsday there. And they are going to get enough. Oh, my goodness. I thought at least. Yeah, they're still holding. This is still back and forth. The Eye of Agamotto gets popped. Well, they find a pick to even it out. TTK, it's not over yet for them. Hey, Paper going to find both strategists here. And yes, Polymath going to get point 1.
Punish ultimate actually worked out. I mean, 100 Thieves got melted on the front line. No strategist ultimates because they got used in the previous ones. So you can't really, you know, relax, it feels like, in the MRC, right? Even a top team like 100 Thieves could fall to a team like Polymath with ultimates. And Wizard Dread, again, pick off on Dilemma, trying to set up an early flank. Does not pan out this time.
Yeah, Telopsia and Doomsday on that combination is kind of unique. You rarely see a Punisher trying to reset your Bucky on focus, but that's not a bad idea. We've seen a lot of these combinations with the two, or at least with Bucky, some unique combinations today, even with Venom. But yeah, okay, good work here by Doomsday on this hit scan, showcasing the power of Punisher in the right hands, and still buying some early picks. Now onto Terra. Great shield there, Guardian Shield, allowing this 1v1 to be a little more of a 2v1. Terra trying to hold this off angle, seeing if they can still hold on. I don't know how they still are. Wow, what a turn there by Delena.
He also threw out the whale. Terra also, these guys are showing no respect to Polymath. I mean, Terra almost losing the one, chucks out the whale, needs help from Delena. Clobber in time on the front line, forces out that Luna Snow ultimate. Vinny's here with the Strangling Prison.
Wow, good job there by Vinny on the early pick. They are trying to run this anti-group comp, but is it enough as Vinny gets 2? 100 Thieves still holding on strong. 100 Thieves just been an absolute force to deal with, and they're showcasing why as everybody's having a moment here. Selena with a great right click to find some value onto a strategist line. Good off angle, cutting down. Ooh, I like that play there, getting a little bit of a shutdown, just finding a way to get ahead of them onto the back line and chasing focus. Doomsday not able to hide as Selena is going to find another.
Too aware right now. Polymath back to the spawn, has to come back into this fight. Wizard, unfortunately, you probably don't want to see that Meteor M committed, considering they were already in a lost team fight. Now 100 Thieves set themselves up in the main side, have their own Meteor M to counter Doomsday. They're going to try to break the Meteor fast, though, to make sure he doesn't get it off fast. Oh, no! Teleopsia goes down to Terra. Hopefully I'm saying that right, too, but Terra immediately finding that opening KO. Gonna just walk forward now with a huge edge.
Harvey just holding on to this barrier until necessary. No reason to pop it early as we do find another pick. Harvey does a great job matching DPS with the healing, showing how strong Invis can be in the right hands just on damage alone and getting a lot of those final hits. We see that a lot from Harvey, which we don't necessarily see from every single Invis player, playing a little more frontline than he would, as we do see a teleport coming out, potentially trying to land a stun. I was going to see if we saw the downtown stun there for right Delena, but no. There goes the teleport as the team's relocating on the high ground, trying to play around this angle. Doomsday gonna dodge the whale by staying in here, and they're gonna follow up with the Luna. Will we see the turret come out as we hear everything being popped to the side of Polymath up in the sky? Oh, TTK right down into Doomsday. A great counter into the Punisher.
Yeah, too easy to block it. Also, the Namor in the sky, body blocking for that Meteor M. Meanwhile, Delena, flank of a lifetime. Vinny over the back. Delena, sure, you're gonna go down, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, everything on the front line was found in success. Vinny's Strangling Prison. And Doomsday, yeah, got shut out, unfortunately. If TTK is ready to go with that Meteor M, he just knows exactly where we're going to be. Even if you try to break the Meteor M, TTK can just throw it right on your face. Nobody was there to support. Doomsday, unfortunately, shuts out that ultimate. So much, all of the eggs in that basket of Doomsday. And, you know, obviously, Polymath now 4 seconds left. They can touch with the Venom last second, but it's dicey.
And here we start the next fight. Early pick there by Wizard, who immediately is going to get picked right back by SJP. Paper going to find Terra back in the odds of Polymath here. And we will see an Eye of Agamotto just trying to buy the time until they can find an angle. Great drop back here by 100 Thieves, who are just knowing that they've got the space, they've got the time, they don't need to panic. It's all about the next fight. But Polymath does have ult advantage with this Eye, ready to have a few more too. TTK and SJP very close as well, so we do have the dance floor now on the side of SJP. Here comes the Meteor M. Will it land? No, it does not. Great positioning there by Zersim as they are just holding this off angle. TTK on Telopsia. Doomsday on Delena inside the turret, but they don't hold on to the point.
Yeah, too tough to hold the objective versus all the ultimates of 100 Thieves. And once that Winter Soldier falls, the Punisher just did not have the throughput to consistently pump out damage onto the cart. And yeah, I mean, unfortunately for Telepsia, I mean, just got picked a few too many times. 100 Thieves doing a good job playing around the point, playing around the cart. I just feel like 100 Thieves may be playing with their food a little bit right now. It seems to be a bit scrappy, a bit messy. You know, maybe not fully giving the credit for Polymath being a good team as well, considering they're also running something we usually don't see, especially with Namor and Hela both getting through in the band protect phase and the Groot. So they're really like, we screw what is the quote unquote meta. We're just gonna play comfort picks basically at this point.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe it is a little bit of a trying to test something out, right, against a good team. You don't really get to practice. You know, you want to practice against the best, to be the best. So they're you know, knowing they're in the upside bracket, knowing they're so confident on these heroes, maybe trying something else out. But one thing I think we should touch on here in Polymath, and I personally like to see it, the Punisher out there, right? But I do find, especially with Magneto being where Magneto is, the shutdown potential and how much you feed that Meteor M on Punisher Ultimate is very terrifying. You elect to either not fire at all and not charge the meteor and just stand there awaiting the meteor, or you choose to try to burst it, but at that point it makes the meteor far more dangerous to your entire team. So that is why the conversation of Punisher versus Bucky, a lot of the times it's a Bucky win, at least from what we've seen at this level. But I do still like to see Doomsday finding some success here on the Punisher.
A great point to bring up, Shib. I think that, like, playing different compositions versus 100 Thieves and versus these top teams, it's like giving them a quiz, right, on how to play your character, because you have to play so differently depending on which character you're against. And obviously, like you said, with Punisher Ultimate, you have to get rid of that Meteor M so quickly compared to maybe another composition where they're not trying to shoot that Meteor M. So right now, 100 Thieves kind of passing the test. We'll see if they can keep it up on this first point attack.
Great angle there. Paper with a nice early pick on Delena. No res going to be there as Paper's just going to dive that backline. But you know how scary the backline of 100 Thieves can be. Vinny falls, though. Telepsia doing a great job here on defense, and they are going to drive the whole team back.
I think Delena, because Delena just like walked forward like a bot almost, was looking for the shield from Harvey, maybe expecting it to come through, or at least his team to collapse on him. He just walked in a straight line. 100 Thieves already a minute off the clock for them. Also not close to too many ultimates. Have that Meteor M, have the boundary coming up, so we will see huge support ults, huge ultimates in general in this upcoming fight, which 100 Thieves have shown to be very good at competing in.
Yeah, and here comes the early aggression. Great pop there. You can see their focus is on those walls. Get those walls out of there. We are going to see the immediate pop. No counter there by TTK. Not seeing it as too much of a threat yet. Terra on the offside angle, taking out Telepsia early on. That could be enough for them to press and take this space. We do see double boundaries there by Invis. Nice pop there by Delena onto Doomsday. Delena getting a ton of value on these off angles. Great stun, hitting 3 with it. But there goes the double ult to buy time on the side of Polymath. Will they find a dunk? No, they will not. TTK, great focus there, holding onto that shield to the last possible second. Vinny, gotta get a huge ultimate. Find 2 with the strangling prison, but don't just make that 1. Not able to get the second. And here comes the eye to counter back. Dunking on everybody else. The shield goes out to protect. Not gonna get value. Instead is going to fall. Paper taking out SJP. So back and forth as Delena drops Doomsday. And another Delena onto Paper. Just absolutely popping off here for the side of 100 Thieves.
And that's the tough part for Polymath. I mean, they have a... Did they use Portal already? I mean, it looks like they did, so they're not going to get that touch. But, like, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Wizard committing the Meteor M early. Delena still had his Hela ultimate ready to go till afterwards. So, because of Wizard popping the ultimate, like you said, they needed to do it just to maintain some presence on the point. But it cost them in the long term. Delena's ultimate just lands flush, able to get 2 eliminations onto Polymath towards the objective.
Little technical issue there as we press forward. We do see TTK owning this space. Does have ultimate up. You love to see the sticks, the left and right click on the thumbsticks for the ultimate. What a unique look here on the screen with the UI. We are pressing in again. Paper going to be dropping 100 Thieves as Terra goes down. Paper, you mentioned there holding on to the teleport. I'm not sure if the teleport went through, but it may have been a discussion around we just need to hold this second point, and I'd rather have TP up in case case anything goes wrong in these early fights as a group, to retouch instead of trying to touch on point one. So maybe that was their thought process. I'm not sure. It might be on cooldown. We'll look when we get eyes on paper here. TTK gonna keep this pressure forward. Does have this meteor ready. Punisher out of turret now. Shoving paper back into the team. Great positioning there by TTK, and Vinny with a follow-up.
Yeah, here comes the Punisher ultimate from Doomsday. The Judge, Jury, Executioner, unfortunately met by the Invisible Boundary, and also the Squids of Terra. They're all over the top side. Doomsday's ultimate finds no effect whatsoever, and they're kind of just sent back to spawn. You're missing both duelists, and Doomsday swaps over to the Groot. Everybody else is going to fall on this side. Delena just not missing, hitting some incredible shots. Teleport comes back. They do have it now. Cooldown's committed as well to high ground. I mean, they're getting staggered. This is brutal walking out of the portal like that.
That's where you maybe want to hold on to the portal until the rest of the team falls there. They try to get dropped early and you retake as a squad. Unfortunately, not a lot of strategists there in the moment to keep the team up. Vanguard's just a little bit of a decision-making error maybe, as they might get this thing pushed all the way through before they're able to touch. We'll see here. One last fight. Looks like the touch does come through. Well done there by Wizard, who was able to get the ult off and stays at full HP. And the Strangling Prison is out. They're trying to follow up. Group going to be matched now on both sides. Down go 3. Make that 4, 5, 6 as 100 Thieves win the first map.
Kind of expected to a degree. On the other side, you know, obviously they put up a good fight, but 100 Thieves team, that's it's kind of the one to beat right now. You know, in this current meta, they seem to have things figured out. 100 Thieves constantly put pressure, whether it be TTK, whether it be their duelists on the perma flank. So they know how to play the compositions. They know how to play Marvel Rivals, in which the best way to do so right now is just to have those duelists hard flank and get those eliminations early. And, you know, pray your team can kind of match you on the other side. Meanwhile, TTK, MVP on the Magneto, able to put out so much pressure, so much damage, and to connect on every single Meteor M and save him for the right times. He did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, just the story we're used to seeing here by 100 Thieves. 12 final hits from TTK, topping the final hit charts on a Magneto. See, that's that conversation we mentioned around having a Punisher into Magneto. Magneto's meteors become so much more scary, even with turret up or anything along those lines. Just the raw damage he receives during those moments, allowing for a lot more final hits on the meteors. But then just, you know, Punisher has a big body. His hitbox is relatively large, and I know the pros mentioned that, you know, where Bucky gets that over health every ability, Punisher just kind of soaks a lot of that damage unless you get a hard pocket. It's just much more difficult to find success with at this level of play, and 100 Thieves really showcase how strong they can be right there.
Yeah, we'll see in the next map how 100 Thieves do, if they can close out 2-0. Obviously, Polymath's still in it, so we're gonna have to see after these highlights, then come back for that number 2.
Welcome back, everyone, as we just witnessed 100 Thieves doing what 100 Thieves does. An incredible display, an incredible performance. Allowing that Groot through may have been a mistake. What'd you think, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to take away from that. It's like you mentioned, don't give Vinny the Groot. You know, it's a pretty easy, maybe easier said than done, considering you're trying to make a lot of changes on the fly. You know, commit a lot of interesting decisions, I suppose, in the ban protect phase. But, you know, a lot of teams, this is going to be their first time playing against 100 Thieves. And from we've seen from so far in the Invitational and the history of 100 Thieves in Marvel Rivals is that they're very good at that composition. We'll see if Polymath changes it up here.
Yeah, I think the issue was 100 Thieves banned out the rocket, which I have no doubt in my mind that Poly really wanted to run, right? Like, I mean, it fits their comp so well. So I think getting rid of that rocket and just enabling Vinny to say, hey, man, just go ham on the group. Do what you do with Groot, and you won't have much problem. And it really did work out for them. 28-3 on Vinny's side, 23k damage, 10 final hits. Not even talking about Delena or TTK also providing a ton. Did see a ton of damage there from the Punisher, though, with about 20k on Poly, which, you know, isn't a bad job, especially with Punisher being not as seen as a lot of these heroes.
No, I mean, but that also goes back to, I mean, obviously I don't want to counterpoint you or anything shit, but it's just like, yeah, I guess with Punisher, you know, it's like that character always does high damage, even in losses, right? Now the Rocket Raccoon comes to a ship, so, you know, that damage can be potentially lethal on their side, so they're going to take advantage of that upcoming, but, you know, who knows what 100 Thieves want to ban here coming up.
Yeah, I think this is going to pan a lot better for them, and maybe they wanted the challenge. I don't know, because they obviously know that this comp is something they're most comfortable with. 100 Thieves is just saying, hey, whatever, just go for it, you know? And they are going to get rid of that Hela, which did find a ton of value. Obviously, Delena on the Hela, terrifying. Just you know, we could mention everybody on 100 Thieves a billion times, but we are seeing some changes up in the composition. I do think this, you think this is going to go through? You think they're going to run this?
Hey, they might. I mean, they might. It's been changed. It's been buffed. The Human Torch is definitely alive and well. Team up with Storm as well, or just to have that combo with their ultimate is pretty hard to deal with. I mean, 100 Thieves, they don't have the Hela on Delena to be able to shut down those Sky heroes. This could work out for side of Polymath.
I mean, you know me, I love seeing variety, and this is a fun comp to watch. I do think Torch has been in a better state even prior to the changes definitely helping him a lot. Just getting that ult a little bit quicker, does have a little more damage, or in terms of the speed of his auto, it is a little faster, does have a couple more spread pellets as well. So can be a threat, you know, does have a lot of burst too if he lands on a couple of those fireballs on the ground. So I am excited to see the fire tornado come through with Storm. So let's see if they actually pull. Oh no, they are running it on attack.
Yeah, I mean, this is the map too to do it on. I mean, I told you how I watched some FlyQuest scrims like 2 weeks ago, and they played this composition sometimes whenever Hela wasn't played. And, you know, now you don't have to worry about that character, but you still have to worry about your front line being kidnapped by Terra on Wolverine.
Yeah, gonna take out some of the value there of the Wolf, but now, you know, it gives no question where the Wolf's looking at your front line and nowhere else at all times. So, you know, it's a negative, but it's also a positive at the same time for Wolverine. No distractions, but that raw damage from the Sky can be scary. Also, Torch just putting down those large AoEs, burn damage everywhere, just constantly getting that ult up. They're gonna run heavily into trying to make that happen, as Harvey won't be having a strategist counter ult. It's just gonna be on SJP here on the dance floor with the fate of both worlds.
And Delena found early, has to get brought back into the fight. Also, you have to play around these giant flame pillars that are on the outside. So nice kidnap from Terra again to bring back that Magneto in this fight. No eliminations found just yet for 100 Thieves. They pop the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier, but nobody's going down necessarily for Polymath. They're doing a good job kiting. Doomsday falls so low, TTK. Nice job from the Magneto. Both Magneto players kind of becoming the main focal point of these team fights, but Terra takes advantage of Wizard Dread caught out on the high ground.
Yeah, really well done there by Terra. We know how strong this Wolverine can be. As I say that, he misses the jump. A little bit of a meme situation there. Back up, though. He goes. But yeah, Terra on this Wolverine is nightmare fuel for any other team. Just an absolute demon. TTK going to initiate here, trying to cancel some of these throws. Not gonna find value. Paper gonna block that. The Hurricane is out. A ton of space as they drop TTK early. And here comes the fate of both worlds to buy some time. Paper is gonna be fueled here by the... Oh, it does not land with the Rocket Ult. I thought it was gonna work out with the Rocket Ult. Do a little more damage. Not able to do so, but nobody falls there from the last stand on the Wolverine as well, as a lot of this is back and forth.
The BRB is also available for Polymath. They're just trying to go aggressive, but incoming Strangling Prison, Cosmic Yarn, everybody falls. Doesn't matter how flashy your ultimate combination looks for Polymath's side. It's Vinny with the Strangling Prison, who's been consistent so far in the series.
Yeah, it's unique here by 100 Thieves. Obviously, Rocket has been seen more in the meta than, you know, people would expect. I mean, does enable the Bucky Punisher, but you don't necessarily need it. As you see here, the combination of that Yarn with something like the Whale or the Meteor M is just, it's enough to make teams fall over. But a great early pick there on Doomsday. Once again, TTK just making things happen, looking up into the sky, and just doing enough work to shut down these Flyers almost by himself. Just a threat to them at all times as their HP keeps dropping. So does his.
Well, yeah, the difficulty too is each amount, like damage they do to TTK, each bullet gives the backline, the strategist, those ultimates. So SJP will have the fate of both worlds for the combination that is Teleopsia and Doomsday. Maybe try to go for it this fight, but it's a lot committed. Delena maybe caught out on the flank. BRB, is it close enough to bring him back? I think it is. So he'll be back in the fight, but on the front line, Wizard Dread's already gone, and here comes the combination. Supernova and the Storm in the Skybox, but does it find an elimination? Yes, it does, but it's traded by Delena.
Delena, raw damage there after the Meteor M burst through that overhealth. A lot of space driven up in the sky. Goes another Meteor M, not able to find any purchase there. Harvey gonna find an early KO on a Teleopsia. Delena onto paper, and man, 100 Thieves, despite the composition they're going into or who they're picking, is just making things happen. And you love to see the Raccoon being a little more aggressive there and getting a pick as well.
Yeah, you love to see it indeed. Polymath, 14 seconds left to go to make things happen. They've switched up their compositions to that triple Vanguard. Wasn't working, unfortunately, with the Human Torch and the Storm. Two Storm, unfortunately, a team that already played. That's not you guys today. Polymath now tries to walk into Terra's ultimate. Last stand used, met by Exorcism with the fate of both worlds.
And here comes the tackle there by Terra again. Trying to find some value. Down goes Doomsday. Really tough to play Groot into a great Wolverine. Just getting absolutely healed up. Well done there by the strategist. And here comes the Whale, switching to damage. And down goes Exorcism, Wizard, Jake, hey, and everybody falling. Teleopsia as well as 100 Thieves holds them on point one.
Yeah, the portaling, nope, not going to make it there in time. Good hold by 100 Thieves indeed. I like the attempt to try to play the Storm and the Human Torch, but yeah, not exactly the best versus a team as practiced as 100 Thieves. They've seen it, I'm sure, in practice. Polymath, you know, going to the defense. We've seen teams full held, right? We've had some crazy upsets so far, and there's a potential for that to happen again, but I don't know. Something tells me Human Torch probably still ain't it, Mr. Ship.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to join you on that. I do like the direction they're taking him, and yes, of course, in ladder, you're gonna see some of those Human Torches that are absolute demons, but at this level of play, they just know the limitations and they're willing to exploit those limitations. They did a great job there, even with TTK here on the Magneto, just doing so much damage to those Flyers, soaking a ton of damage, getting SJP ready to pop the Fate to cancel both those ultimates out. It just was not quite working for them, but I did really like the idea there, as we are still going to see Doomsday on the Storm.
Yeah, I mean, Storm has some viability whenever Hela isn't played, like we talked about earlier, but, you know, it's the unfortunate part with Storm is that she's just too easy to eliminate whenever she goes in with the ult, right? Her damage comparatively to her health pool is not high enough, right? Whenever she, I mean, I know she was playing a lot in Europe and stuff, but right now a lot of the great North American teams can deal with Storm whenever she comes in just through healing each other on the strategists and then also just honestly just shooting at the Storm. So it's just kind of a distraction, maybe a way to force out strategist ultimates, but at the moment that's been about it. And Wizard Den, oh, that's a brutal pick-off, man.
Yeah, that was gorgeous communication. SJP with the immediate freeze after the tackle there. So well done. Wolverine's Feral Leap, if you get hit with that and you're not directly in eyes line of your strategist, you might as well say goodbye in the air. Great work there again. Terra gonna get tackled back though. So it's a little bit of a trade-off. I don't think passive was popped. I don't believe. No, it wasn't on the side of Terra, but the idea was there. TTK owning this space. A little switch up in comp here. Paper going to be on the thing, trying to stop it, but it's just not going to be enough as TTK going to take out Paper immediately into Dooms on the backside, trying to hold some great positioning there, taking the height around those natural cover, but no one able to touch as they just walk that thing through.
Yeah, 100 Thieves sort of just aura farming, as my fellow Gen Zers would say. Okay, that was absolutely cringe. I can't believe that. But the 100 Thieves, they get the job done 2-0. And, you know, MVP, you get Harvey getting the MVP, obviously, in the title stream. But I think TTK, man, I think we both can agree, was just so consistent in Magneto, was really the backbone of 100 Thieves throughout that whole series. So what do you think?
Yeah, just taking space and not allowing duelists to find any value really there. I mean, it just seemed like consistently eyes were on them and he was making them suffer a little bit. They tried to make something happen, got some damage out, but just, you know, you could see just alone Vinny and TTK damage is on par with the duelist line. You know, goes to show you how strong they could be with Groot and Magneto. I like the idea of a switch. I think we did see, I believe there was a Punisher ban. Yeah, there was a Punisher ban at the end. I think I missed that initially as to why they were switching to the Fire Tornado comp. But, you know, it seems like they're into those combination squads. Maybe they rehearsed with those squads. So changing it up, that team knew that they'd have success against Flyers, and they really didn't have to change that composition at all.
No, yeah, they really didn't indeed. And, you know, 400 Thieves, that means they're going to continue in this upper bracket. And on the other side, we'll be seeing Polymath again in the lowers. So we're going to go to the highlights real fast, and then we'll come back with a fresh new series ready to go.